Party time, Mom. Welcome to another episode of the Chad Prather Show, hanging out here in the mothership, which is Studio 22. Come on, say it with me. It just resonates off the tongue. Studio 22. Hanging out here with the man at the helm, the puppet master himself, Mark Tate, and, of course, Candice, the queen of the Ethiopians. She's not really an Ethiopian, but I love the fact that you changed your Twitter title over to Ethiopian Queen. That's a beautiful thing. You did that.
A big step.
What, about a month ago? That's a big deal.
Yeah.
When you did that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We'll remember it for the rest of my life.
Yeah. It's fantastic that you've just fully embraced your identity.
It was time.
And you've held on to it. And just, boom, you just went ahead and ascended to the throne. I appreciate that.
And here we are.
Here we are. We're going to do an expose soon. There's so much going on in the world. We've talked about different things. We've been pissed off at YouTube because they don't like certain words we use. They like to censor clips we've shown and stuff. Like, we didn't make any money. People, everywhere I go, people love the Jeffrey Epstein special. They're like,
glad.
best thing. We loved it. It was really powerful. And it was good.
We worked hard on that one.
And I'm always quick to give you the credit on the research and so much of the stuff. And it was a good, but we got more coming on that. We didn't make any money, by the way. Like, when it comes to doing ads and stuff on YouTube, we didn't make a dime off of that. You can watch it. It's completely ad-free because they wouldn't put ads on it. It was one of their censorship policies that they arbitrarily decided that they couldn't put ads on it because too graphic, too real, too, talking about the immediate tragic loss of human life and things like that. Whatever. So let's keep doing it, Candace. Let's keep pissing off the powers that be. That's what I want to do. That's what I want to do. I want to talk about like the Iran-Contra affair and smuggling drugs into Arkansas and how the Clintons have been protected by the CIA and all these kind of things. Like, if I'm not pissing off a Clinton, I don't think we're doing the job right.
We're escalating in the danger aspect of it.
I think we are.
Yeah.
It's
going to be
amazing
exciting.
how many people have sent me messages saying, man, I hope you make it. Hope you make it. Well, here we are. It's party time. Hot News Natalie hanging out over there. Good to see you.
2020.
2020. We got the Dirty Bird himself, Keith Malinak.
Thanks for having me. I've not been in this new studio with you.
Yeah. This is your first time in here, isn't it?
Wow.
Well, I mean, not in the room.
I have, I've visited. Let's put it that way.
I love how you come in here and start grabbing whiskey off the shelf and they slap your hand.
So?
Candice is like like a mom. You're just a mom.
Yep. Absolutely. That's well said. Mm-hmm.
And she intimidates the crap out of me.
Rightly so.
Honest.
That's good.
She texted me the other day. And so she texted me. We were planning for the new year. She texted me the other day. She said, can you come in on the 2nd of January? And I said, nah, I really would rather not. I got a lot going on. I might be traveling. And so then we were nearing New Year's, and she sends me a text. She said, so are you still wanting to come in on the 2nd? And I was like, no, you wanted me to come in on the 2nd. I'm coming in on the 3rd.
And guess where you were on the 2nd?
I came in on the 2nd.
Yeah.
I came in on the 2nd.
No.
Like a charm.
23-year-old kid, man. Intimidates me. She's scary.
It's happened.
Yeah, I know.
Keith could speak to some of that experience.
Yeah.
The
you
trauma.
know what's going on, Keith.
It's not your show anymore.
No, it's really not. Never really was. I gave it up a long time ago. It's like my home. Like my wife's in control. I don't want control. I never wanted control. I've never had control. People say, when'd you lose it? I don't think I ever had it. It's done.
That's true. You're
Natalie?
right.
Women, man.
You're welcome.
Two women. Y'all are magical.
Thank
Y'all are amazing. We got a big show for you. It's gonna be interesting, eye-opening. And I've enjoyed sitting here today, throughout the day, spending a little time with my new friend, and I've been keeping up with what he's doing, and not only his cause, his mission. It really is a mission. And it's stuff that a lot of people, you're going to hear some stories today, you're going to hear some tales, you're going to hear some things that are going on, and you're going to say, no way that's true. No way that's true. But this stuff is serious, and we talk about the YouTube censorship. I know people who have talked about this very topic we're going to talk about today. They've been deplatformed. Forget being demonetized. We can go out and make money plenty of ways. That's fine. God bless the sponsors of this show that treat us well. But listen, to get deplatformed because you're talking about topics. I know people who have lost their podcasts, they've lost their platforms, they've been disinvited from news organizations and appearing on any interview programs because of some things that they've put out about this very topic, and we're going to get into that today. So I want to introduce my buddy Jason Bartlett. Jason, all the way from South Africa, wearing a Keep America Great hat. You're a Trump dude.
I am, yeah, man. I grew up, never had a leader. Our leaders have torn our country apart, so you got to choose someone that you look up to, right?
I want, and I appreciate that about you. You're pretty bold, and by the time we're done talking, people are going to realize just how bold you are. But I want you to tell me your story. Why are you here? Why are you in America? What are you doing? What's the purpose? Why are we sitting here talking today?
First of all, you got to go big or you got to go home. I have to go big because I'm not allowed to go home. So I come from a place called South Africa. It's my heart. It's known as the Rainbow Nation. In other words, it's known as the Rape Nation, to be honest. Every 3 minutes, a woman is raped in South Africa. And what I'm doing is I'm actually seeking asylum, which is a big thing. It's not, especially under this administration, I think the asylum cases approvals are as low as possible. But we are actually real asylum seekers because our people are being persecuted for being white and for being Christian. And what they're doing is, like the third biggest political party in South Africa is chanting for the whites to be killed. I mean, they literally stand on live TV and say, slit the throats of whiteness and death to all the whites. And they sing one settler, one Boer, kill the farmer. And they're literally singing out. And it's happening. There's 473 farm attacks in 2019 and 50 murders. And these are not just murders. They're disguised by the media as just little instances of thievery. For example, my cousin was at 11 o'clock at night. They're having what we call a braai, which is a barbecue, and they approached the house. They went through 2 security gates. So how they got through, we don't understand. And they shot him in the back of the head. After they strangled him with fish nylon, they shot him in the back of the head. And when he fell, they took the barbecue and they turned it over and they put it on top of him. And luckily he survived. The bullet came out of the front of his eye, and I've actually got him on my Twitter. You can see him. And then they went to the little kids. I'm not going to say their names just for their safety. And I think they were 8 and 10 at the time. And I was actually at their house like 4 or 5 days before this attack happened, because I always used to stop there before I came over to the States. And this was 2018 on the 12th of January. And they go and beat the kids with crowbars. And they tell them to shut up because then we'll rape you and kill you. And that's just what's happened to one of my family members. The other family member has asked me not to talk about the fact that she was raped, and I won't mention the names. The other one was hijacked and put in the back of the trunk and drove away for 2 hours. But the brutality that's going on there it's unfathomable and it's unthinkable, and it's your leftist media in America that is hiding it. Yeah. And they're hiding it for a reason, because they know that it's coming for America and they want it to happen.
I have said over and over again that there are so many powers out there that would love to see the destruction of America. And because I know there's people who are watching it. And listen, we've got our share of dingbats, dumbasses, people like that who just spout off at the mouth. And the first thing they say is, well, why do we care what's going on in South Africa? What you just said is exactly why we care what's going on in South Africa, because the tactics, human nature's always been the same. We've seen it from the fall in the Garden of Eden. We've always seen, Cain kills Abel with a rock. There is jealousy. There is envy. There are these things. There are murderous intentions that happen. We've seen the same tactics. Yeah. There are people that want to see America destroyed. You saw South Africa completely divided with apartheid. Apartheid is still going on, but now rather than whites on blacks, it's blacks on whites. There's a revenge thing that's happening. And you're right, the media hides it for whatever reason. I've seen these people out there, politicians in America, in various states, California being one of them. They can't get socialism fully enacted, so what do? Is they try to find their ways to use capitalism to bring along the same effect. And the way they do it is they literally destroy people's lives. Yeah. And you're seeing people whose lives are physically being destroyed. Yeah. And you're here making a statement about that, because we're on the cusp of that. That's the threshold.
It is. We're on the cusp of that. And, I can tell you countless stories like we were talking earlier on. And, you've got someone like Elizabeth Warren saying, stop defending yourself, stop carrying weapons around so people can shoot more people in churches, right? Because why do people want to stop that? But now it doesn't just, that's where it starts. Remember, we saw this because I'm 32 years old, and South African, the apartheid stopped in 1994, so it's been around for like 25 years, and this rainbow nation, but nothing's changed, and they're hiding it, and that's what I'm saying. It's coming for America because it slowly grows up. It's like a cancer. You know, socialism and communism is like a cancer, and it slowly grows and slowly grows. And sometimes, if you don't check up on it, it becomes a tumor, and and then you die. And that's what's happening.
I was walking through a farmer's market years ago, and I saw a sign over a fruit stand, and it was to the worker. It said, "Today's spot becomes tomorrow's rot." So in other words, they were saying, inspect the fruit, because if you've got a spot here, it might look like nothing, but tomorrow it's going to be a rotten deal. And you have, like in the body, a rebellious cancer cell that becomes, all of a sudden it engrosses, and before you know it, you're completely consumed with it. And you guys, Keith, I know that Pat has talked about this on his show, Pat Gray Unleashed, and you guys on that show, I know, been accused of it being fake news, just making these things up, you know, and I mean, it's amazing how people, have you encountered that where people just don't want to hear they don't want to hear it?
Yeah, and I found that trying to engage people on Twitter, for example, it's mission impossible, because there is a certain segment of the population that has fallen prey to this kind of mindset where they're part of the cancer that's growing. As far as that mindset of disarm the people. That's no big deal. We want you to be safe. Well, do you? Well, then allow me to be armed, okay? But it's in our country, this progressivism, that is the cancer, where it's the government saying that we know better than you. We can take care of you. You have no right to defend yourself. You need to look to us. And before you know it, you have given away all of your God-given rights. And the next thing you know, your country is irretrievable. So I appreciate you coming over here and speaking freely.
Yeah, I mean, I've been threatened. Antifa's coming after me because Antifa work with a team called on Twitter is Bust the Myth of White Genocide in South Africa. And as soon as they made a comment on my Twitter, Antifa started coming after me. So it's so heavily connected. And one of the reasons right now, I'm not for immigration. I'm not for that. Heaven's got a border. You know, not everybody just goes into heaven. So not everybody should just be able to come into America. So I don't think it's right. And I'm not here walking around entitled. I'm not saying, hey, give me $1,000 a month because, you know, I feel sorry for myself. I'm here saying, okay, I've got a certain amount of skills. I can generate 25 jobs for Americans. Let me in so I can feed you as a farmer. Let 500,000 or 1 million of us in, law-abiding Christians, God-fearing people who want to stand and support the Constitution, who want police who can support them, who can stand up for them, who want shows like this where you don't have to be harassed because of your color. And we're sitting with about 3.5 million people. It's always up and down that because the murder rate's so severe. But now, when the farmer now originally goes extinct, because I don't know if you guys have noticed, they hardly speak about rhino anymore, right? Have you realized that? Because why? Because the white farmer in South Africa is the main person looking after the rhino. So now the rhino is not even important anymore because the Chinese and the blacks in Africa work together to poach them brutally. But what they used to do, the way they kill the rhinos used to be all over the news, but they don't put anything about how they're drilling the kneecaps of people, how they're cutting the limbs off, how they're cutting their penises and their vaginas off, stuffing Bibles and burning Bibles and poking their eyes out.
Yeah.
I mean, it's horrific what they're doing, man.
The amazing thing, because I know how the American mindset is, we hear these things and we start thinking immediately about American race relations. You got to get that out of your head. You're African. I spent the better part of 20 years in and out of Africa, different parts of Africa. I've been to South Africa. I've been, I've seen it. I've seen it up close. They don't think of race relations the same way that Americans think of race relations. And so we hear that and we're like, oh, well, this is a black. No. Culturally, this is a completely different deal. You have to interpret people, their circumstances and what they're going through based on the culture in which they live. And we as narrow-minded first world Americans tend to think that the world is just like us a lot of times, and that's a very narrow vision of the world, and it's not. And what you guys are seeing is absolutely horrific. And so, like you said, first of all, I want to send people, while I'm thinking about it, to two places. One, your Twitter. Your Twitter handle is...
at Buffalo Bartlett.
At Buffalo Border.
At Buffalo Bartlett.
Bartlett, okay.
Yeah.
Buffalo Bartlett. And that's with 2 T's at the end. Buffalo Bartlett. At Buffalo Bartlett. And then you've got Buffalo, is it Buffalo Border?
Buffalo Border, yeah, as of this morning. So, yeah.
Yeah, and it's the .com.
No, that's hashtag Buffalo.
That's the hashtag.
Yeah, Buffalo.
I'll get it straight eventually.
Buffalo Boer is my Instagram. Hashtag Buffalo Boer Walk is for the walk that I'm doing, which I'm sure you'll get into. And then my where I'm actually raising donations for my walk and hotels and my medical and literally from Rubs because I'm doing such a far walk is Boer Extinction. So it's BOER extinction.org.
Yeah. And I try as best I can to say Bora.
Bora?
Bora. BOER extinction.com.
Yeah.
Hey, this winter, start a new routine to upgrade your everyday life with monthly Box of Awesome from Bespoke Post. Bespoke Post sends guys only the best stuff every month. So whether you're looking to commemorate an occasion with a champagne saber or toast perfectly aged winter cocktails, a Box of Awesome has you covered from style and grooming goods to barware, cooking tools, and outdoor gear. Box of Awesome has carefully built collections for every part of your life. To get started, take the quiz at boxofawesome.com. Your answers will help them pick the right Box of Awesome for you. They release new boxes every month across a ton of different categories. Free to sign up. You can skip a month or cancel anytime. Each box costs only $45, but has over $70 worth of gear inside. Get 20% off your first monthly box when you sign up at boxofawesome.com and enter the code WATCHCHAD at checkout. That's boxofawesome.com, code WATCHCHAD for 20% off your first box. And I encourage people to go to the website, follow on Twitter, do those things. Social media matters. It brings awareness. But go to the website because this guy has a mission. Like I said, Jason, you're doing something that's pretty impressive, and I want to get into that. And the thing that you're doing is you're taking a walk, but you're not just going across town. What are you doing?
I'm actually walking from Austin, Texas. I've already started. I think I've done about 56 miles already, and then I was interrupted by you to come here. But no, only kidding, buddy. In the famous words of Greta Thunberg, "How dare you stop me and my walk? How dare you? Because now we believe in science. And
I should be on the road walking."
Walking, so like true. I mean, even though it's all funny because I get called a white walker, all of a sudden I'm from Game of Thrones. It's like, where's I haven't even got blue eyes, for goodness sakes. I'm actually walking from Austin, Texas, the state capitol building where Antifa wanted to come and meet me, but it was too early. I left at 8 a.m. already.
Yeah, so, they don't get up.
Yeah, mommies ask them to make their beds and they don't know how to do that, uneducated. So, I started walking and I'm currently, I've got about 1,511 miles to go. Yeah. And I'm doing about 44 miles on average a day. So it is pretty grueling. But you know what? No matter, like my right foot's in pretty much as much pain as it's going to be. So it might as well stay like that.
And we were talking about that earlier. We were trying to find a pain reliever. And I was like, dude, I'm praying for you, man. You got a long walk in front of you. We were looking for some ibuprofen or something just to give you. And and you already got the Forrest Gump beard coming in too, and the red hat. I just felt like walking. Yeah. And it's
those look like
somebody else thought that too.
Yeah. Those look like comfortable shoes.
Exactly.
My mom always told me you can tell a lot about man's shoes, where they're going, where they're been.
He said people are trying to pick him up and offer him a ride, which is a Texas way, and he's like, no, and then they're offended because they're like, why don't you want a ride?
Yeah,
exactly.
My mama said.
But I mean, think about that. I mean, 44 miles a day. I mean, you need to be wearing a Fitbit or something. You need to. I mean, like, how many steps are you?
For these steps, man.
Yeah, you need to get some.
What's actually my biggest supporter is the Samsung Health app because it says you have completed 1,950% of your target today. I'm like, yeah, I'm doing so well. Yeah, like yesterday, I just walked like 12 miles and it was like 1,900%. I'm like, I'm doing all right.
You're doing okay. Yeah,
just lower
it's
the
a great weight loss plan. I use that app for a week, and I know that it's 7 steps from my sofa to the refrigerator. So you're definitely outdoing me on that.
Jason, can I ask a question?
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned that you're not allowed to go back to South Africa. Can you tell us about that?
I mean, if I had to go back now, for telling the truth, remember in the year 2020, you're not allowed to tell the truth. 2019 established that. And the reason, if I go back, you know what's going to happen to me? I will be the man that you see here. Do you have any idea what they do to people? First of all, what they tend to do, right? I'm sorry to get into the gore, but
Get into the gore.
We have to go there. For example, let's start with the youngsters, right? Let's tell you about a 12-year-old that was boiled alive in a bath. Okay, a little white kid, 12 years old. I can't remember the year because there's so many and all the time. There was 473 brutal farm attacks last year, 2019, and 50 murders. Work that out for yourself, okay? They take this 12-year-old boy, they rape his family and kill half of his family, and they put him in a bath. And these attackers take however much time it takes to boil several kettles and boil water on the stove and pour it in the bath. Now, the police officer that was actually white, with the very few that are in the police service that are stuck there because they're not allowed to go anywhere else and they're degraded and dehumanized, says that you could see the skin still on the side of the bath, how this kid struggled. Imagine seeing stuff like that. And there's another guy that I know, his family was shot in front of him and raped in front of him. And they tie him up to a chair and they drill his legs. And they tie him up and they leave him there to die on purpose. They leave him there to die. Now, remember, he's like 4 or 5 hours away from any town, so nobody can hear him shouting and screaming. And they found him 6 days later, in a miraculous way, he's still alive. And imagine the brutality of sitting there for 6 days with your family dead in front of you, your little daughter, and your daughter and your son and so forth. Imagine what you got to go through. I mean, it's unfathomable what they do. I'm sorry about this name it's quite popular. I'll put it on my Twitter. Her name was Willemientjie Potgieter. She was a little baby. I've got a picture on my Twitter. You can scroll through and stuff like that. And she was hacked to death with a panga. And these are quite a while ago, but, I was just looking on my phone now. My girlfriend was sending me some stuff. And like the day before Christmas, a guy gets attacked and his ear gets chopped off and he had nowhere to go. So he crawled in his bed and they waited until the medical people get there and they couldn't sew his ear back on and he's still in hospital. I'll show you a photo of him. It's horrendous what they do. Another lady, 7, I think her name is Vilma Ferreira. It was on the 26th, so on Boxing Day. They go and they tie her up for 15 hours to a chair in Centurion in Pretoria. So it's not just farms.
Sure.
So it's not just farms. And they go and cut up her Yorkie dog and they put it in a bag. Why are you doing this? There's another gentleman that was stabbed 151 times. 151 times. And then it gets classified as just a normal break-in. Listen to this one. There was a woman, and she was quite a pretty lady. She was taken, she was raped, and she was hung upside down and she was gutted like a deer. She was gutted like you gut a deer. And the police have the audacity to write there that it was a break-in intending to steal stuff. You see what we're dealing with? We're dealing with witch doctors. Now, you remember when Cecil the Lion was shot, right? Mm-hmm. You remember the outcry because it was an American white gentleman who shot the Cecil the Lion, right? So they went absolutely berserk. Absolutely berserk. But what about the witch doctors a few days ago? A few days ago, they poisoned 8 lions to make muti. Now, do you know what muti is? Right, muti is a sangoma, which is a witch doctor. They take little baby parts. Yes, they cut up babies, so that's why they would love the abortion rights here in America. We can murder millions by the day or by the year. And they take these and they mix them up and they drink these things. They drink it as muti because it makes you healthy. And those same people believe that if you rape a 24-month baby and younger, you are relieved of all your sin and your iniquities. 24 months. I mean, for goodness sakes, how can you rape a 12-month-old baby? And, you got someone like Katie Hopkins, The Killing Fields, her documentary. If you haven't watched it, watch it. And get ready and have some tissues. Whether you're the biggest, toughest man, you will start crying. Because what we're living is, even the guy from Genocide Watch, right, said that he, in his entire life, has never, ever seen such brutality. You're talking about Jeffrey Dahmer on steroids. You're talking about John Wayne Gacy on multiple steroids. The things that are happening there are barbaric, completely barbaric. And it's just absolutely evil. And no one is talking about it. Yeah. And we're silenced. So what am I doing my walk for? I'm doing it for people whose ears get chopped off, for little girls who are getting raped, for the women that are getting raped every 3 minutes. Every 3 minutes, a woman is violated completely. They are stripped us. They have dehumanized us. I was involved in an attempt attempted farm attack as well. Thank the Lord I got out of it. But there were 8 of them that came for me, and I shot at them with a 303 rifle. All right, shot right next to him, about this far from him, and 8 of them returned. They run away and they return because we've got electric fences around the farmhouse where I was working that's strong enough to keep out a lion. Why are they coming there? Are they coming there just to break in? No, they're coming there to torture me. And it's perverse what they're doing, and it's evil, and it needs to stop. And that's why I say I'm going to walk into the White House, even if it takes me as long as can be. And if I don't resolve it, then we need a bold president to help us. And I believe that President Donald Trump will actually help us, even though he will be ripped to shreds just for saying something about it. Because Cyril Ramaphosa, our president, stands up in broad daylight and denies everything. I don't know if you saw that after that tweet, but that he doesn't know. And I bet you now he's going to start hearing about me, and his knees are going to start quivering because he denied it, and that was the best thing that he could have done for us, because now they can see the truth comes out and they can see why they're lying about it.
Yeah, the things that are hidden are going to be revealed. How's that for an answer to your question, Natalie? How about that?
That's a lot to take.
Sorry.
It
good,
no.
though.
I'm
It needs to be said.
glad
It needs to.
because we don't hear that.
Yeah.
That seemed like you just told me about a movie.
And let me go back to where I started with this. I know people who have been deplatformed. They've been criticized for being fake news. They've been criticized for being conspiracy theorists, all of these things. And I have friends, podcasters, folks that are out there who have said, listen, let me just tell you, if you have the means and you're a white person in South Africa, get the hell out. And they've caught all this, criticism for saying things like that. And I know that, again, let me go back to you, because I know the way the listener and the viewer, I know the way you think. And people say, well, we're Americans, we got our own problems, blah, 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 blah. I'll remind you, I'll appeal to whatever appeals to you. I will appeal to the better good of your humanity, of your faith. Jesus said, hey, look, whoever gives a cup of water to one of these, it's going to be washed upon the shores of eternity. I mean, it's like doing it unto me, he said. And I'll say it to you. You've heard me say it over and over again. The light that shines the farthest away shines the brightest at home. If you don't shine far away to places like South Africa, then the light you have at home really isn't as bright as you think it is. And that's the thing. You got to be globally focused. You do, because we are a worldwide we're humanity, and we've got to be. And to hear stories like that, if it doesn't ring in wherever that place of compassion lies inside of your emotion and heart, you've got to take action with something like that. Here's a guy who's doing the legwork, literally, making the walk, and I'm encouraging you to support him. He's got to eat. You got to have a place to stay at night. Donate. Get on, the website. Go to Boer Extinction. There's too many. I started thinking about the rolling of the R's and all these things. Boer Extinction.
Boer Extinction.
Boer Extinction. Is it org or com?
Org.
.org. I apologize. So, do things like that. I'm telling you to do that. You can't. I personally believe that what you sow is what you reap, and you want to see things fixed in your own community and in your own home, in your own country. Start reaching out to those. That's what I've always done. That's why I spent a great part of my life in third world countries, working with people who couldn't get help themselves.
And Chad,
yeah,
you're talking about getting involved and spreading the message and showing your route and everything. That's awesome, and we absolutely need to do that. I'm curious if you have a response to the question: where is the world in general on this? Because these murders, these horrific crimes have been happening for years, and the United Nations has met how many times over this period of time? You never hear anything. You know what you hear about? You hear about climate change. You hear about global warming. We have to talk about this. You hear about other parts of the world. I never hear the United Nations in the body of countries that come together to do good and stand up for atrocities like that's what they were founded on. I haven't heard a peep.
Addressing it at all.
Where are they? Why are we hearing nothing?
Exactly. What the saddest part is that, right, that I've actually done nothing, and it still feels like I've done more for my own people in the last 25 years, and that makes me very emotional, because I'm just a mediocre kid from South Africa, and they are nowhere. They're nowhere to be seen. The UN is not there. They're just unbeknown to us.
And so that you don't have to say it, I will. It's got to be because the victims are the wrong color. They
Exactly.
don't fit the template.
Yeah.
So if the victims of this atrocity and this genocide and this raping of a countryside are white, whatever. Not interested.
You see, but the hate is running so badly that even people like Nigeria, so it's not Africa that's just violent. I grew up knowing Congo. We all know the Congo and what they do in the Congo, right? And I've always grown up to know that Congo is the most dangerous place in Africa. And then I Googled about 2 weeks ago, and there's actually about 3 times more murders per day in South Africa than there is in the Congo. You know, so South Africa is now the deep, dark Africa. It's not the rainbow nation. And bringing like the deep dark in, right? Have you ever heard of Eskom? Eskom is our power utility. And in the old apartheid, they built this within I think 5 years, and it's one of the best entities that they were ever built. I mean, they won recognition for this, and now it's completely bankrupt. And it's 2020, and my parents sit with without electricity for 14 to 18 hours a day, happening right now. Mm-hmm. You know, like right now, I spoke to my parents today before I came on the show, and they're like, "No, I've got no electricity." It goes off for like 14 hours, but like it's in a little town, let's say the size of Dallas, right? But they only cut the electricity off of the white-paying taxpayers. They don't cut what they call the squatter camp area out that get it for free. They don't cut that out. Mm-hmm. And then they give electricity to Zimbabwe, and they give electricity to Namibia. So that's why the Americans should be so concerned, especially the conservative Americans that say, okay, but we're not going to help any other country. If there's one country should help, it's the South Africans. And the reason why is because now you must understand that even though these farmers are being murdered, even though they're being brutally attacked, they know that their land, because the constitution, which I'll get into, was changed in 2018, that if you see a piece of land and you like it, you can take it now. That's called land grabs, and they without compensation. So if you own a farm and you owe $1 million on that farm still, because of your color, they can take it away and you still have to pay the debt off. Right. I mean, it doesn't make sense. And where they're going with this is they're literally going to take the land away. And that's what they want. They want to take the land away. But they don't realize that the government has taken over 4,000 farms away, and these farms are not distributed to anybody. So, and America, sorry, I start getting worked up because it makes me so angry, because America, you, all of you that pay tax, right? Do you know that your money, over $510 million a year, is going to South Africa? And it's going to 0.02% of the government, and they're living lush, lavish lives. That's what they're living. None of that money is going to anybody. It's going straight to the tyrants, absolute tyrants.
Yeah. Hey, a low credit score could keep you from getting the things you want, like a credit card, a car, a new job, even a house. And that's not all. A low credit score means you're going to pay higher interest rates than people with better scores. You don't have to keep getting denied for credit. You can kickstart the comeback on your credit today. Just call the specialists at creditrepair.com. They can help you work to repair your credit and improve your score by removing inaccurate negative items like late payments, charge-offs, even collections and bankruptcies. Here's the number for your free credit evaluation. Call 800-501-3199. When you call, you'll get a free credit report and score, and you're going to find out what creditrepair.com can do to help improve it. Creditrepair.com helps you work towards a better score so you can have a better life. The evaluation, credit report, and score are free, so call 800-501-3199. That's 800-501-3199. Not available in all states. Not practicing in Georgia, Mississippi, Ohio, and South Carolina.
And correct. I'm sorry. Just correct me if I'm wrong. Is the leadership in your nation is obviously very evil at this moment, and correct me if I'm wrong. South Africa used to be a nuclear nation, and they had access to nuclear weapons. They got rid of those years before apartheid happened. I just can't imagine this country and what they're willing to do and turn a blind eye to.
Yeah. I mean,
with nuclear weapons,
yeah.
I mean, that's the one good thing about this, I guess. But
Luckily, they're too corrupt to actually buy anything. So they're too corrupt. They spend it on themselves and their 19, 20 wives, you know. So it's incredible what they've done to their country. Like the ESCOM used in 2001, I believe it won one of the best entities in Africa. And now it is 450 billion rand, which is about probably like $10 billion in debt. You know what I mean? It's like in debt, and it's the grid is about to collapse. So do you Americans know what the word load shedding is?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah.
No? Okay, you're smart, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty smart.
Right, cool. Well, it was quiet in the rest of the room.
Don't be fooled.
But but I mean, the load shedding is literally what I spoke about earlier on. They put your electricity off for like 12 hours straight, but they put it off at the times when you got to get your children ready for school and ready for bed, and they just put it off completely. You know? And what do you think happens? Do you think the criminals sleep when the electricity goes off? No, they come for you. And like when the things that you get told, like when I phoned the police when they attempted to do that farm attack on me, and I phoned the police, I got told to F off. It's too far. It was only 31 kilometers away. You know, it's around the corner. They told me to F off. This is nothing. You know, and then another concept now, with any American that complains about the police and they think the police are too strict and stuff like that, let me tell you something, right? I'm informed and I know who these people are. And this woman was being raped by two people, and another person phoned the police. And the two police rocked up there and they continued to rape the woman. Do you understand?
Yeah, and you've seen it in so many different regimes, and I'll call them regimes in various governments. I remember, spending a large amount of time in Nigeria. You referenced Nigeria earlier. They have two governments. You have a commercial government in Lagos, and then you have a federal government in Abuja. Right arm doesn't know what the left arm's doing. Neither one of them cares. And that's true in so many different African nations that you have. And it's more that way because, again, it goes to the power hungry. It goes to the people who are going to waste those resources on themselves, on their own lavish lifestyles. Yeah. You look at, and I always encourage people, if you're watching or listening to the show, I always encourage you, okay, use your critical thinking skills. Get some critical thinking skills. Where does this take us? You kill all the farmers. Now you have an even bigger humanitarian crisis because now you have a nation that can't feed itself, because these rapists and murderers who are going in and killing the farmers, they don't know how to farm. They can take over the land. They don't know how to farm. They don't know how to do it. That is a skill set. They don't have that skill set. If I say Ethiopia to you, you immediately go back, and you start thinking about people starving to death. You saw the pictures of the babies that were so weak they couldn't get the flies off their eyelids. They got the malnourished, the bellies that are there. You realize Ethiopia used to be called the breadbasket of the world. It was the most fertile land there was. I can remember Sam Kinison talking about, it's sand, you can't grow anything. He said, no, it was the breadbasket of the world. But when you bring in fascist governments that take over and oppress the people, then you have starvation, then you have famine, and that's exactly what ultimately will happen in a place like South Africa, which there's absolutely no reason in terms of terrain, climate, fertility, all of those things of the land. It should never happen. Yeah. But that's where it's heading. Guess who's going to carry the load then? It comes right back to us. So we've already listed a lot of things on our doorstep, sitting there at the threshold. We've got a threat, by the way, of people keeping silent on some major things that are happening there are people out there that would love to see it come to this country. We've got a humanitarian crisis in South Africa that directly affects us as humanity. We got a potential crisis that's coming that's going to be bigger than anything we've ever seen. And I am encouraging people, get involved with this. This affects you. And I know we are all about quick microwave, get it done right now. If it doesn't affect me immediately, then I don't care about it. But man, you got to prepare for the future. And we're not a future type of thinking generation anymore. And this directly affects us. That's why I tweeted the other day. I said, take the boats, send them over to Hong Kong, bring the protesters to America. Go to South Africa, bring these farmers to America. Because let me tell you, those are the kind of folks, the folks that settled South Africa. And South Africa, just like everywhere else, has had its scars and sins of humanity throughout history and all those things. Any place on the planet has. Same people settle that country, settle this country. Same mindset, same work ethic, the same type mindset. Again, folks, don't even think in terms of skin color. Atrocities are everywhere and always have been. One of the things we were talking about is you look at the demographic of South Africa, you have people who, we deal with a border crisis here of illegal people trying to come in here, trying to cross the border. But you got a million hardworking folks, salt of the earth people, blue collar hardworking people. They're gun owners, they're God loving, God fearing, they're law abiders. And I say, those are the folks that we could bring into this country versus, say, Somalian refugees who want Sharia law, which completely violates our Constitution. And that's exactly what we've seen in places like Minneapolis, where Barack Obama just brought them in by the school bus loads, and there they sit. And they have representation of people like Ilhan Omar, which is, I don't even have to get into how ridiculous that is. So, my theory and thought is, hey, these are the real refugees. Let's bring them to America.
I mean, look at the way we think. People like my dad asks me, hey, why are you walking so far? Why are you going to do this walk? I said, because I grew up just like any American. I watched The Patriot. I watched Braveheart. I watched Rocky. And I watched Forrest Gump. And if you mix those four, you got to walk to the White House from Austin. I mean, that's just the way I was raised, right? That's what you got to do.
When you get there, I want another Dr. Pepper.
So President Trump asked me, how do you feel? I go, pee.
Yeah, I go, pee. They called it $1 million wound. Yeah. I ain't seen a cent of that money. Dude, I'm praying for you. And I don't say that lightly. I'm praying for you because it's noble, it's worthy. I think it's a God thing in that regard.
This is God's country, right?
We want it to be, contrary to what the media would have you believe, and so many folks out there who are fighting that. I believe in it. I believe in the cause. My heart goes out to you, to your family, to all these cases and causes, and just folks that you could talk about that are dealing with this.
Thank you.
On a tragic basis every day. It's a bad thing. And I encourage folks to pray. Give, pray. If you can't give, pray extra. I mean, it's one of those things for health and safety. And, you've had threats. You said somebody threw a Coke at you yesterday.
I thought he was giving me a Coca-Cola, but then I heard the F Trump, and then here comes a Coca-Cola at me. I couldn't catch it and drink it to make a little advert. But, and it would have hit me hard. And one guy tried to run me off the road. I had to dive off the road and stuff like that. It's pretty scary that I didn't know that Americans hated America so much, and so not
it's
all of you. I know
profound what you say there.
Yeah. It is. It's
sadly
pretty
profound.
It's very scary that it's actually happening. But that's why I sit here honestly and I say, listen here, America, I'm standing for your freedoms. I really am. I'm standing up for your freedoms.
I have people all the time that come to me and say, "Oh, we're the laughing stock of the world." I said, "No, there's a lot of people out there who really do want what you said at the very beginning, the leadership that I think that Donald Trump has demonstrated, who's very pro-America." Yeah. Very pro-America, and people just refuse to get that. They refuse to understand that. And like you said, you haven't had leadership in your country.
No, I've never had a leadership. But the one leader, you know what they did to the one leader? He wasn't my leader, but he was the last. I think he was the leader of apartheid that some people had. They hacked him to death and peed on him in public while he was being hacked to death, and the police didn't stop it. That's what happened to the last leader. So if a white person stands up and wants to be a leader, they hack him to death. Yeah. And if anybody wants to read a book, man, Ernest Roots, he was actually on the Tucker Carlson show, Ernest Roots talking about this. He's got a book called Kill the Boer, and you'll see it explains how complicit the South African government is, because they stand up, like the EFF has like 10% say in parliament, and they're the third biggest political party in South Africa, and they stand up and say, kill the farmer, kill the Boer, kill the farmer, kill the Boer, and nobody condones it. Yeah. And for me, where I come from and what I believe, an omission is just as good as accepting something.
I agree with you 100%. I just, as you were saying that, I'm reminded of that movie with Adam Sandler, the great American prophet Adam Sandler, Big Daddy. When he takes the little boy to the restaurant, he's like, he's got to go. Can he use your bathroom? And the guy's like, not my problem, not my problem. And then he goes in and he pisses on his wall, and he comes back around and says, now it is your problem, buddy. and I kind of feel like that's what's going on is we're just going, hey, South Africa, not my problem, not my problem. And,
Very much your problem.
And meanwhile, culturally, we're getting our walls pissed on. And that's exactly what's going on. And I'm telling you, I hate being right. And I'm often right when it comes to this kind of stuff, because call it whatever you want to call it, prophetic intuition, anything you want to call it. I just have insight. When I see these things, I've called it way too many times. And that's why it's important when I have folks like you on. And so God bless you, man.
Thanks, sir.
And proud to call you friend. Excited to see the journey. And who knows? We might go out there and hang with you a little bit.
Yeah, I heard a
little
rumor
bit.
that people are going to be walking with me. Huh?
Yeah.
And so like,
I'd love to join. I think
Yeah.
I'll make Chad come with me.
And
Alright,
you've,
cool.
I mean, you've had people who have volunteered to follow you, whether on a bike or
yeah, there's a gentleman that's going to come start meeting me tomorrow, and he's going to walk, and he's going to get his own hotels and stuff like that. So the Americans are going to start latching onto this because you know why? Because they support people like Rocky, the underdogs, the people who stand up with nothing to lose. What have I got to lose? You know, I'm actually taking in the support vehicle, I've got 2 ferrets and my cat with me. Because what have I got to lose? What have I got?
Dinner.
For those, if I don't raise enough donations, save an animal's life right now, people.
Yeah, exactly.
You need a shoe sponsor.
He's got bushmeat.
Okay, yeah. On that note, right? Please name me one company in this country and world that will sponsor an open and unashamed Christian.
I reasonably
Not
think.
Nike? I'm
No,
so
that's
No,
why I
confused.
walked.
Nike's
I walked
gonna
my
do
first 40 miles. I walked in Nikes, and I was going live. I said, "Yeah, listen, we can take the people that don't support us, and I go look at these shoes. They can carry Christians too, my friends. Be
That's right.
careful."
Yeah. And New Balance is an American-made tennis shoe company, so we're hollering at New Balance, and we'll say, hey, it's a great cause, dude.
Thank you,
Go
sir.
follow him on Twitter. Keep up with just track it and see where he's at. Keep up with the progress. Support him when you can. Go to BOER, BOER extinction.org, and give. Just give. That's all you got to do. You got it. Give it.
Chad and I are in for like at least a quarter of a mile.
I could probably put in,
Quarter.
So it'll be like
400 or
4
500
hours.
yards. I can, yeah.
Watch out.
I get a
I'll
day
do the
in.
rest for you
I
guys,
Get a
don't
day
worry.
in. No, I'll do it. I'm coming
I would
with
too.
you. Yeah.
I'll do it with you.
I'm already
and roll.
carrying the whole South Africa on my shoulders. I
Yeah,
can
you
do
are.
more, man. I don't mind.
Yeah,
I'll-
you are.
because the torch, like I was saying earlier on, I've got this foot over here has been smashed by a glass before and everything, and it suffers. And when they stitched it back together, they put my nerves on the wrong side of the bone, so everything that touches every foot. And it's full of I think 6 blisters on this foot already. But someone asked me what about this? And I said, you know what? Every step has got nothing on the torture that my people are going through.
Yeah.
And the way they're being dehumanized. You know that in some schools in Cape Town, in those areas, they've got white kids singing they hate the whites. They're forced to sing these songs, and it's cruel, man. And the unity that actually is there, the little bit of the actual good people, they will never get into power. Those black people never get into power. And then another thing that they're doing, there's squatter camps with whites in them that are qualified doctors, qualified veterinarians, qualified nurses, qualified engineers, and they're living basically on the streets in the slums because they're not allowed to work because of their color, because they've got the black empowerment, black economic empowerment, which I call it a bloody expensive experiment, where they go and they're getting it right. Then, okay, cool, you are black and I'm white. So we apply for the same job. You've got no education. I've got all the education, but they'll give the job to you and they'll tell you straight to your face that, no, you're white, you can't get this job.
Yeah.
And even on the government, you can't apply to go join the Air Force or the police and stuff like that. Maybe 1 or 2 get in just so they can hide some things, but you just get told not to. You can't even work. And these laws are open to read. You can go read them. You can go read them and you can't deny it. Nobody can deny it.
Yeah.
They openly, blatantly there, and that's what's going on. And it's the truth. It's the truth. And it's coming for America.
Yeah.
It's coming straight full bang wham for you guys.
There it is. Let it sink in. Support him. Pray for him. Love you, pal. Hot news. Dirty Bird. Puppet Master. Candice, the queen of the Ethiopians. You see what's happening? You see what's happening in your home continent?
Wait,
She ain't from
we've already
around
gone
here.
over this.
You can make an American farmer really good with that accent. I like it. Yeah. Girl, you ain't from around here.
It's also
Got all
talking
your
about the
teeth.
farmers. Our South African farmers are some of the best dryland farmers in the world. They honestly are. South Africa is not for sissies. It's tough boys, and they love the land so much. And the ones that want to stay, they deserve an immediate protection plan. And the ones that want to come, we need to have visas that are way more relaxed than now, because it's almost impossible to get a visa to come to this country.
Yeah.
And we also need our asylum cases to be expedited and approved, because we're the real refugees. We really are the real refugees. You know, we're not some made-up people. We are people that are God-fearing. We want a law system. We want everything. And if you throw 500,000 of the people in the middle of West Texas, where it's a different type of beauty, people will farm that, and they will help feed you, and they will help feed your generation, and they will help feed your people. I'm
behind it. I believe it. I think that's a movement I get behind. I really do. I've been outspoken on it. So check them out. We love you guys. Support. God bless you. We'll see you next time. Chad Prather Show. Bye.